And you're listening to Eat, Play, Live with me, Andi P, the show that's chasing dreams and crushing goals. And our goal here is to help you live a healthier, happier, more balanced life. Our focus for this year is learning to love ourselves unconditionally. And with that in mind, I have my very first ever guest on this show, and I'm super excited. I don't know what took me so long. I promise I don't like hearing myself talk so much that it took me a year and a half to have a guest. But Ashley is joining us tonight because learning to love yourself unconditionally is something that is also near and dear to her heart. And she outed herself on Facebook.
I do that all the time. Always on Facebook.
Yeah, she did. So just a little backstory here. I was looking at Facebook the other day and I saw a post that she posted, and something about it just said, you know what? She needs to come on the show and share her story. And I think it's something that a lot of you will relate to, whether you even know it or not. So I want to start out by reading her Facebook post, and then we will go into it. So you'll just join along for the fun, okay? I wanted her to read it, but she's like, no, that's not going to happen.
I get a little cringy whenever I'm reading my own stuff. So,
yeah, it's kind of like listening to your own voice.
Yeah, listening to yourself. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I just can't read it again.
No, I'm not going to. Okay, I won't make you do that. Okay. I didn't bring my readers, though, so bear with me. So Here we go. In her words, hey, all, I just wanted to touch base on something that has been heavy on my heart. Weight. Yes, I have always struggled and I have bad body dysmorphia. No matter how much my husband tells me I look great, I can't seem to shake it. Anyway, I've gained so much weight in the last year. After my struggle with constant panic attacks and anxiety, I've never had the panic attacks before and they didn't let up. Not once, all day, every day. I finally had to get on medication, which I didn't want, which is an SNRI. I figured it would make me gain weight, but not the amount I did. Within the last year, I have packed on the pounds. As someone who has already been insecure about their weight since 8th grade, this really did a number on me. I've exercised and dieted with no avail. I know there are people thinking, wow, she's gained a lot of weight. You guys see me often, especially local folks, and are probably thinking I ate myself into this position. Nay, my friends. The fact is, the medication I have been on has made me gain 30 pounds in 1 year. Shudder. I knew this might happen, but it was either choose to gain weight and not be able, or rather, not be able to get out of bed. I am now weaning off that medication in hopes that my new one will be better for me. This is just a PSA that people who've gained weight might not just be overeating. They may have a thyroid problem, take medication, or any type of unfortunate medical issue that might make you gain weight. Don't fault them for that. We can't help it. Anyway, here's to hopefully switching medications and being back to that weight where I thought I was fat. Keep this in mind the next time you judge someone. If you read this far, kudos to you, and I hope it's shed some light. Love you guys. Hope this post will keep me losing that weight in the future. Yeah, that was a lot. That was really brave.
Thank you.
To put that out there.
I had a lot of private messages too, like just thanking me as well.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, apparently I know a lot of people that have that issue, the same as me. But it's nice when they reach out to you and you're like, oh, I actually helped somebody not think they were alone. And I mean, a couple of people were like, you were like, that's really brave for putting that out and stuff like that. And I know like there are a few people that are like, you shouldn't put that out there. Like, you don't need to put that. And I mean, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, just personally. But I'm like, well, you know, I think it's a good idea. I think people need to know that they're not alone in this. And some people don't even know like what exactly it is.
Yeah. Well, let's start with that.
I have a definition of body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia. So if you haven't heard of that.
So this is just on the internet, what it says. It says a mental illness involving obsessive focus on a perceived flaw in appearance. The flaw may be minor or imagined. So sometimes you just think that you look like that, but it's not actually how people perceive you.
Yeah. And what I've seen in television, especially depicted, is people who struggle with anorexia definitely get into this body dysmorphia because they don't ever see themselves the way everyone else sees them. They still think.
It's not just for overweight people or people who think that they're like bigger. I mean, it could be like anything. And it says, but the person may spend hours a day trying to fix it. The person may try many cosmetic procedures or exercise to excess. So yeah, focusing or obsessing over one or many perceived flaws is kind of, so like somebody could focus or obsess over their weight, or like me, like the chin area. That is something that literally I probably obsess about.
That's your spot.
Like, yeah, that's the spot that I cannot stand, and I hate it, and I mean, it's crazy. But I always, and like, so in my post I said, here's to hoping I can be that, and if that was in quotes, like I think maybe to what I was before, because every year, and I know so many friends that think this, every year you're like, oh man, I wish I was as fat as I was last year.
Right. We think,
like, you know, every year, and then you gain more the next year.
Exactly.
Like,
when you're 25
gosh,
and you thought you were fat.
Yes, like,
and then you're like, man, if I only looked like that again.
Seriously, like I look back on like college photos and I'm like, man, I mean, even high school, like I said, it's been going on forever. But
right. And I think there are two things here, because you talked about having just like shame around your weight since 8th grade. And 8th grade is a very common time to start developing that kind of.
Yeah, you got all your long-legged, tan, skinny friends, and then you're thinking of like, and then they're calling themselves fat, and they're actually not, and then it just really, like, you know, then you're like, well, if they think they're fat, then what am I? Yeah,
and what are they thinking about me?
Yes,
that's where I think that at that age that really starts to play in, and we internalize that to where today that's still a thought. And you mentioned that a couple of times in your post about what other people are thinking, or what, you know, they're assuming that you're eating. And I want to talk more about that in just a minute, to talk about the other people's side of this. But
yes, that also goes hand in hand with the anxiety part, and we'll talk about
it. It is. It's just also tied in there together. But there's a real difference though between being self-conscious about your weight as opposed to body dysmorphia.
Right.
Okay. So the dysmorphia part really becomes, I mean, in the
obsessive part.
In the description, did they even say it was a mental illness?
Mental illness.
So calling it a mental illness makes it, you realize that, okay, this is not a little thing.
No.
You know, to have that where, so I want to ask you, our listeners, if there is something, when you look in the mirror, when you walk by a mirror, is there one thing that you always go to? Do you ever just look in the mirror and go, all right, I look pretty good today? Or you're just checking your outfit without?
Yes.
Or is there a thing?
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I've also, I mean, seriously, my husband is like always complimenting me. Like always. Aww. He's like, he's super sweet. Like no matter what I look like, he's always complimenting me and telling me, like, you know, like that you look nice and stuff like that, or like hot, or like you're looking good, you know, that kind of stuff.
I love how shy you got about that.
I'm like, I don't want to get like too into it, but you know, it's like, he compliments me, and I literally will make a face at him or be like, like I'll make an ugly face just to like, that's my, like, how I like the feedback he gives.
You're not accepting his compliment.
So I even have talked to like my therapist, like, which like when I was going through all of that those issues, I talked to a therapist for a while, and which is totally normal.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I all the time I encourage.
Yes.
Get help.
You can
talk to someone.
People,
yes.
Because that's how you avoid a lot of stuff. So
yes.
But no, she was like, you have to tell him thank you. That's going to be your goal.
Yes.
Every time he compliments you, you don't have to say anything. Just just say thank you.
Yes. And see, I call it the mean girl in my head.
Yeah.
The one that's arguing with him. That doesn't come out of you. That's the mean girl.
Yes. Yeah. No.
So you gotta shut her up.
I do. I have a mean girl, like, just to myself though. Like,
yes.
Not necessarily like how I think about others. Like, I could be like, oh, you look great all day to somebody who probably, I mean, there could be somebody looking exactly like me, like a whole clone of myself, and I would be like, oh, well, look at her.
You're gonna see the good in them.
But if it was like me
and not toward you, honey, we're pretty similar.
Yeah.
I have to say that is exactly. And I do the same thing with. I think that I also have body dysmorphia. You know, I lost a great deal of weight. And even in the weight loss, the one thing that jumped out at me is when I would go shopping, I would pick up the wrong size clothes. For a really long time, I could not in my mind wrap around the fact that I wore the size that I wore. I would pick up clothes that were 2 or 3 sizes too big.
Yeah.
I was just sure. And I have now finally learned my size, but I mean, I will admit there are parts, and well, for instance, my skin. I have a huge problem with the skin because of the massive weight loss.
Right, yeah.
I have loose skin. And now I'm also 51 years old.
Yeah.
That ain't getting any tighter at this point, you know, it's not going to happen.
Yes.
And I hate wearing shorts in front of anyone.
I do too.
Because of that.
100%.
And I feel like I
it'll
want
be
to
5,000 degrees outside and I'm like, I don't want to wear shorts.
I want to wear a sign that says, don't look at my legs, don't judge me. I lost a lot of weight.
Same.
I mean, like,
and
you want to
another
explain.
problem area of mine also. But like I've always said, I had the tree trunk legs, like always, even when I was like smaller. That's just how it's been. But I mean, you know, I'm glad though, like today, like the way that like media and social media and all that is perceiving people to be like all different sizes is okay, not just one. You know,
that is true.
You can be thicky nicky. It's okay.
Exactly.
And you can be smaller. Like, it's
celebrate
totally
thick
fine.
thighs.
Like, yeah. I mean, I've saved my phone so many times from
when you drop it,
falling in the toilet.
It.
Yeah. So, you know,
there's definitely an upside to all of that. But the thing is, it's so hard then, even though we know that it's not real, and we know that we need to have the focus be differently. How do you change it?
Goodness, I don't know. You just have to just try your best. And like I said, I've been exercising. I mean, I'm in and out of the gym, but for a while, it was really hard for me, like during all those panic attacks and all that. Like I literally could not get out of bed. Like it was the craziest thing.
Okay, yeah. So tell us about that a little bit, because you said you've struggled with anxiety for a while, but then why and how did it transition into actual panic attacks?
Yeah, honestly, I can't tell you exactly why. I mean, I can tell you what happened, but so I've always had anxiety, but it hasn't been like too terrible, like until I had my oldest daughter, who's now 10. She just turned 10 yesterday. Happy birthday, Paisley.
Happy birthday, Paisley. That's so cute.
So it started a little more then, and then, you know, being a woman, like all your everything goes crazy and your
when you're having babies,
hormones,
yes,
and like all the levels of everything just, and then even afterwards it just completely like messes you up. So that's another awesome thing of being a woman we get.
Right, you are forever changed.
Yeah. So I have 3 children, so every time I had a kid, I think it would get worse every single time. And then I mean, really, like, it actually just does mess with somehow your body for some people, and your mental
And would
state.
it start to get better for a while, and then you got pregnant again, or did it just kind of increase?
No, it just literally,
like this was a
increase. And
staircase.
honestly, when you have a kid, like, and especially if you have anxiety, you are scared all the time. Like, even those people who have normal anxiety, like, they're like, I gotta go check on the baby.
Checking that baby. Are they still breathing?
You know?
I know exactly what
I
you're
remember
thinking.
I worked at the Coffee Mug a long time ago, like here in Mason, and I remember a man coming in with his baby, and he put his hand, like, he was just ordering his coffee, and he put his hand, and it was way before I had kids, put his hand over his baby's nose. He's like, oh, I just had to make sure she was breathing. And I thought it was the craziest thing. Like, what? Like, you're ordering a coffee and you're checking to see if your kid's breathing. He's like, I just get scared sometimes like that. And then now I know, like, in living that life of just all night long, and especially, that's another thing, you lose a lot of sleep. And sleeping is a huge
Sleep
thing.
is huge. Lack of sleep will alter your brain.
We had to give her sleep studies. Like, I mean, she was waking up, I think it was 13 times an hour.
Oh my goodness.
During her sleep study. So, and basically when I actually, because, what is it called? A neurologist. I went to a neurologist just to make sure everything was okay. And he was like, your problem is you haven't slept for like the last 10 years. And with Paisley, it was like she still like wakes up throughout the night, but not near as bad as she did. But she still ends up in bed with us and everything. And so I think that's a huge factor too, is, I mean, in the health world, it's like, drink your water, get your sleep. Like,
yeah.
Okay, well, I can try to drink my water as best as I can, but like, there's no, like, if your kids are coming in there all night long and waking you up or crying all night long, and like I said with her, it was insane, like years.
Okay. So then the anxiety started
that just triggers it. That just triggers everything.
So did the panic attacks start after the last baby?
No, the panic attack started a year ago. Whenever I got on that medication. So I had actually started one medication, and I was like feeling like, I don't know, I was feeling weird. So I went to the doctor, and I had just started like a new like SSRI medication. There's like a difference between SNRI, SSRI, but that's a whole
other thing. And I looked up what it actually, and I can't pronounce it. Like the SNRI.
Uptake re-inhibitor.
Norepinephrine.
Yeah.
That was the word that got me, and I thought, well, maybe you know how to say that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a little different the way that it works in it's like, I am not a doctor, so I can't really explain all of it, but it is, SSRIs are a lot more common than SNRIs.
Okay.
SNRIs, like, and this one's supposed to help with pain and stuff. I actually had rheumatoid arthritis starting from 8 years old. And so I had to get like,
okay, so this was going to help with both.
Which is for like cancer patients, like all that. My mom had to give me shots, like all that. Yeah, so it's supposed to help with both. So, anyways, so I started an SSRI, and I went to the doctor. I was feeling like weird in my throat, so he told me to take a certain medication that is like has to do with like mucus and stuff, like all that. And I was like, I know that's not what it is. I actually think it was anxiety. It was just like a weird feeling in my throat. Kind of caught
in your throat.
Yes, and it wouldn't go away. And I just didn't think that was it. But he's like, no, you could take this. Well, one time I had taken that medicine before, and I had a panic attack. And that was like, it was actually when I was pregnant with Paisley. And I didn't realize at the time, obviously, like I took it, and I had never had a panic attack before. So
yeah, so you had one. How do you even recognize that you're having one? What happens?
You literally think you're gonna die. Like there's a difference between panic attacks and anxiety attacks. Like anxiety attacks are just kind of like, oh, I'm freaking out. Like, oh, I'm so nervous. Like I'm, you know, just kind of overthinking, but like crazy thinking. But panic attacks is like, you are literally gonna die. Like, I'm gonna die right now. My heart's pounding out of my chest. I need to go to the emergency room. I can't breathe. The room's spinning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I mean, I did have to go to the emergency room. So after, not when I was pregnant with Paisley, but just a year ago, I had told the doctor I don't think I could take this medicine because I know I had a panic attack with it before. But he's like, no, you can take it. Just take this certain one. It's the same, but a little different. And so I took it. And then on top of that, we increased my SSRI. So it was a whole bunch on my body at one time, which I am not like a huge medication fan. I never have been. But now I'm to the point where like I kind of have to be because it's the only thing helping me as of right now, which is totally fine. If you need to take medication, like,
I agree. I try to balance that too. Do what you can with natural healing and food and supplements and sunshine. You get to
a certain point and that stuff's not helping. Like, I mean,
that's what
why we
I mean.
doctors
are there for a reason. Yes,
so.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think just taking all that at once, like in the middle of the night, I woke up in panic and it didn't stop. Like thinking I'm dying every single day, and it just didn't stop. So I did go to the emergency room, and they're like, you're just having a panic attack. And I'm like, oh. It feels a lot worse than that, but yeah, I mean, all my
and how long did that last?
Normal. It was like, gosh, I know about 4 weeks ish until I had to go. Like, I went to the doctor and had to start like a serious medication that had to just kind of relax me for a while. And I was like, I definitely don't want to take this. And he's like, you are like very bad off right now. Like, you have to.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I mean, I had to. And as soon as I took it, that was the first time I was like free of a panic attack. And they don't like, this medication is called like a benzo for short, and so those are a little like, they're very strong, they're very addictive. Like, this is not like a SSRI, which can take up to like 4 to 6 months for you to start feeling better. Like, this is like an instant thing, but that's why it can be so addictive.
Now, which one made you gain the weight? Was the SSRI?
It's the SNRI. But a lot of SSRIs do make you gain weight,
and that's the thing. So that's you in your post where you really wanted to make a point that people understood that I didn't eat, I didn't not work out.
Yes.
It was medication. Yeah, but I want to know why you think people are judging you.
Well,
that's
the whole anxiety thing and / body dysmorphia thing, like all of that together. I mean, I constantly worry, and I mean, it's mostly anxiety, but I constantly worry about people, what they think.
What are they thinking?
I mean, it's the craziest thing.
And it's funny too, because you said that when you see other people, and if you were even to see someone who looked exactly like you, you wouldn't think that.
No.
Nor would you judge them.
Right.
You might notice something about them.
Yeah.
But and I'm making a point of this because I think about the same thing, because when I think, oh, I need to wear a sign explaining, why I look like such and such, which, by the way, I'm growing my hair out right now, which is why it looks crazy. That kind of thing. Like, I need to explain to you why my hair isn't perfect. Yeah. As if, did it ever occur to you that my hair wasn't perfect when you walked in here?
No, I think it's good, actually.
Okay. See what I'm saying? Like, other people don't see that stuff.
I know. And my husband says that. He's like, nobody's thinking that.
Nobody's thinking that.
Whoa.
I promise you, I have known you. I have met you at the gym. We have talked in the sauna, and never has it gone through my mind. Yeah. Oh, she's gained. I didn't even notice.
Oh, well, thanks.
I'm serious.
I gain it down south.
Oh, honey, I know about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I just, and I'm not making this toward you. But this is so common.
So
I've
true.
heard people say, I had a girl tell me one time, I can't join the gym because everybody will be like, well, why is she here as soon as I walk in the door? Because she thought she was too out of shape to join a gym.
Yes. I've heard that.
I'm sorry. I'm very confused by this. Like, is that not why every single other person is there?
Yes.
But we do that.
It's crazy.
We think that people are judging us.
Yeah. Well, TikTok is a good thing. Like, I know that it sounds like, oh my gosh, TikTok, that's so, like,
but it encourages
or whatever.
you.
But yeah, you can go on there and you can look up like body dysmorphia, or you could look up like workout, like, or weight loss, or like just anything you want to know.
You can search the topic
like,
you
these
need.
people, you can follow them and they can help you. Like, you could just be like, oh my gosh, they feel the exact same way I do. And I mean, I will just, and it used to, it was like YouTube. I would YouTube everything. Yes. And now I can just go on there and find real people.
Interesting how somehow TikTok, I'm fascinated by the way social media works and how we work it. Because when we were talking about Facebook, you were concerned, people think I'm oversharing, or other people are grateful that I shared.
Yes.
Well, TikTok, you don't know these people. We don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
And yet they're speaking into our lives because it's a little freaky with the algorithms, how it figures out what we want and need to see and hear. Yeah, it's a little scary, but it's really interesting how we can get that feedback from strangers that lifts us up in a way that a million friends telling you, you look fine, I love you, I support you, I'm here from you. Yeah, you're my friend. I need to hear it from that stranger.
No,
Isn't that weird?
It is. It's crazy.
We don't have the answer for that. We're just pondering it.
Though. I mean, you can find your body type. Like, people with the same body type, follow them. Like, I mean, and then you're like, okay, well, I can level with that a little more than I can, like, somebody that's super fit, like, telling me to do this or that or that. It's like,
I'm very new to TikTok. I'm trying to embrace it. I don't think I'm their demographic.
They're like just flipping through, like just watching everything.
You're looking
go
for
specifically there to look for what I need. Like I said, like, if you were going to YouTube to search, how do I make my refrigerator start?
Yes.
Like, it is broken. I do that.
Interesting.
With TikTok. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to learn how to do more videos on TikTok, and today I blew it. I was trying to do the side-by-side videos because I opened the silverware drawer the other morning. I got up, and your kids aren't old enough yet, but when they are, let me warn you, when they cook in the middle of the night, it's terrifying. So you wake up in the morning and you can tell exactly what they've eaten because everything is everywhere. There's, even if they've tried to clean up, there's crumbs, there's a trail. Yeah. Well, I literally opened the silverware drawer and there was a pot sticker. Like one of those little Asian thing. He'd been cooking pot stickers, and apparently one of them fell into the silverware drawer. He thought it had fallen to the floor, but then couldn't find it. And maybe he thought the dog got it. Yeah. It just was like this most random moment to find this in the drawer. And so I was trying to create a TikTok video about it, and so far I have failed.
Oh man.
One day I will
it's funny what will get a hit and what won't. Like, I've tried to make my own and everything, and they're not great, I guess. Apparently I don't have very many likes, but then I post my husband on there and it gets like tons of, like, thousands of likes.
Really? Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you post him like running marathons and...
Well, no, it was just him and the dog. Oh. But he had his cowboy hat on, and all these these women and some men were like, "Oh my gosh, your husband's so hot." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." It's the funniest thing. But I was like, man, I guess I'll just have to post TikToks about him if I want to get some followers.
Get some followers. Yeah, okay, that's going to go into a whole nother area. Well, can you believe we actually went for 30 minutes there?
Did.
Okay, so I so want to thank Ashley for sharing this story, definitely. Because I just think a lot of people, the range, whether it's body dysmorphia or just having low self-esteem or weight issues, anxiety, panic attacks. I mean, we went through a lot of topics today. And so I hope those of you listening on the radio, watching on Facebook Live, I hope that we've been able to share with you some of our experience, strength, and hope as you go on and deal with these topics. And I hope you keep tuning in week after week, because we didn't even talk about food. But normally I'll talk about food and exercise because all of those help with all of these issues.
Yes, definitely.
So
definitely.
that's why
the whole mental everything in your body and just feeling better inside, not just out, is a big, like, it's huge. Like,
exactly.
It's not just for the outside, and that's definitely not what I wanted to get across in my post either. It's definitely I want to lose the weight to also feel good about myself, but feel good inside too.
Yes, healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Yes, that is 100% what we're going for. So until next week, eat, play, and live every day to the fullest.